right, Tim wrote the point slope form of an equation for a line, blah, 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 blah. So what we're going to do is we're going to start. They gave us 2 points, 3, 1, and 9, 5. So I start with slope. So 5 minus 1 over 9 minus 3 gives me 4 over 6, reduces down to 2/3. So my slope is 2/3, and then I'm just going to use the first point, 3, 1. All right, so then I go into point slope form. Y minus 1 equals 2/3 x minus 3. So if I look, this is Tim's form. So he's correct so far. So now we got to check Ted. We distribute out 2/3 times x is 2/3 x. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. Add 1 on each side. Y equals 2/3 x minus 1. And now we need to convert it into standard. So we subtract 2/3 x on both sides, giving you negative 2/3 x plus y equals negative 1. All right, remember for standard, A has to be positive. It's currently not, so we're going to do a negative. And you cannot have fractions, so we're going to multiply by that denominator. All right, so negative and negative is positive. The 3's go away, leaving me with 2x. Negative 3 times y is negative 3y. And negative 3 times negative 1 is a positive 3. So that's my standard equation. So if I look back up here, Ted is actually incorrect because that's supposed to be a minus right there. So Tim said that Ted's equation is wrong, so Tim is correct. And then if you want to describe the error, long story short, it should be 2x minus 3y equals 3, not plus. All right, so we're writing each one in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So these are like the earlier ones. You're just plugging in your information. So this is y equals 7x plus 0, which is just 7x. Over here, we've got y equals 8x minus 10. Just plugging in. All right, you and your friends plan to attend the county fair this weekend. The admission to the fair is $5. So immediately, that is my $5 is what I got to give just straight up. Y equals, here's x. Okay. The cost per ride is 50 cents. So if I write 50 cents, I write it like this. So that is 0.5. That's my equation. To find out the number of rides, so they gave me $20. So y is 20. I subtract 5, leaving me with 15 equals 0.5x. Divide 0.5 on both sides. X equals 30. So 30 rides. All right, what I would do if I were you is immediately, remember this is f of x, right? So this point is actually -1, -9. This point is 4, 1. So now they want us to put it, I believe all of these, 24 through 28, are still slope-intercept. So y equals mx plus b. I'm given 2 points, so I start with my slope. 1 minus a -9 over 4 minus a -1. Those both become pluses. 1 plus 9 is 10. 4 plus 1 is 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So my slope is 2. And then I take either point. I'm going to put -1, -9. Now I have a point. I have slope. So I do point slope. This is y plus 9 equals 2 x plus 1. All right, now I distribute. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1 is a positive 2. And I subtract 9. So y equals 2x minus 7. Next one, same kind of thing. I start with slope. 1 minus a -1 over 5 minus 5. That becomes a plus. 1 plus 1 is 2. 5 minus 5 is 0. At this point, if you immediately do not know that's undefined, go to your calculator. type in 2 divided by 0. It should tell you error because you cannot divide by 0. What your calculator is telling you is you have an undefined slope. So then I got to think about Hooy-Vux. So undefined slope, looky, looky, there's the u, goes with an x equals equation. So this is an x equals, and my value is 5. Notice how the x repeated anyways, the same value. That was kind of like a gimme. Okay, slope m equals -6 minus a -6 over 7 minus 3. This becomes a plus. -6 plus 6 is 0. 7 minus 3 is 4. If you don't know what that is, put it in your calculator. 0 divided by 4 is 0. So that's 0. So my slope is equal to 0. Now, I could do point slope form. So I could use the slope is 0, and then this, oops, this is 3, -6. And I could say, okay, y plus 6 equals 0, x minus 3. Distribute out. So this is all 0. Subtract 6. My y equals is -6. That's one way to do it. Or you can go once again back to Hooy-Vux. Probably the easier way. And you look at, so it's a 0 slope. Therefore, it's got to be a y equals equation. So it's a y equals, and then I just take that y value. All right, next one. M equals 5 minus 0 over -1 minus a -2. Oh, yeah, that looks way better. Okay, so 5 minus 0 is 5. That becomes a positive. -1 plus 2 is 1. 5 divided by 1 is 5. Okay, so my slope is 5. I'm going to use the point -2, 0. And I start by plugging into slope-intercept form. So y minus, or not slope-intercept, excuse me, point slope. Y minus 0 equals 5x plus 2. Now I distribute. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 2 is a positive 10. I can add 0. Y equals 5x plus 10. That's my equation. All right, this is the last one for slope-intercept, I believe. So they gave me that the slope is 2. My point is 3, -4, so I go to point slope. I ultimately want to get it in slope-intercept. So y minus a -4 equals 2x minus 3. This becomes a positive, so I have y plus 4. Distribute, 2 times x is 2x. 2 times -3 is -6. And then I subtract 4 on both sides, giving me y equals 2x minus 10. All right, next one. X minus 5. So once again, you should think of Hooy-Vux. So it's a x equals equation. So I'm thinking about the Vux part. So if it's an x equals equation, then it's going to be a vertical line. So I go to the x-axis to -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, -5. And it's vertical, which is up and down. All right, I actually could do this two ways. I could go ahead and make my x and y intercepts. So this is in standard, so x equals -3, y equals -3. So that point is -3, 0. This is 0, -3. This is one way to do it. So you'd say my x-intercept is -3, my y-intercept is -3, connect my points. Or you could turn it into slope-intercept. So x plus y equals negative 3. Subtract x, y equals negative x minus 3. My b is negative 3. My slope is negative 1 over 1. So I would go to the y-intercept to negative 3. And then I would go down 1, right 1. Up 1, left 1. And sure enough, I get the exact same equation. Either one is correct. All right, so I need to get y equals, so I add 2 on both sides, giving me y equals 2. So hoevux, y, so I look at the hoi, h stands for horizontal. So I'm going to go to the y-axis to a positive 2, and I have a horizontal, which is side-to-side line. All right, f of x is just y. So if I were you, I would just make that y. Okay, so that's y equals mx plus b, so I'm going to go ahead and put my plus 0. So my b is 0, my slope is 1 over 5. So I go to the y-axis to 0, and then I rise 1, run 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fall 1, go to the left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Connect your dots. Remember, before you move on, I'm going up the mountain, so I better have a positive slope, which I do. Okay, so once again, you could do this by finding your x and y intercepts, or you could solve for y. So I like to solve for y. I'm going to subtract by 3x, giving me negative 6y equals negative 3x plus 12. Divide everything by negative 6. Y equals, negative and a negative is a positive. 3 divided by 6 is 1/2 x. 12 divided by negative 6 is minus 2. So my b is equal to negative 2. My slope is 1/2. So I go to the y-axis to negative 2, and then I run 1, or rise 1, run 2. Fall 1, left 2. Connect my dots. Before I move on, I'm going up the mountain, so I should have a positive slope. Sure enough, I have a positive slope. Okay, the equation of line 1 is y equals 2x plus 1. All you know about line 2 is that it passes through the point negative 4, 1. Write the linear equation of a line in slope-intercept form that is parallel. Parallel have same slopes. So the same slope. So if I go over here, this is already in y equals mx plus b. So my m is 2. And since they're parallel, it's just going to be the same. Now I take the point negative 4, 1. I don't know why I did double parentheses. I have a point, I have slope, so I'm going to do slope-intercept. Y minus 1 equals 2, x minus a negative 4. This is positive. And now I distribute. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 4 is a positive 8. And I add 1. Y equals 2x plus 9. I think I got time for one more. All right, the equation of line, here we go. So this one's perpendicular. Perpendicular slopes are opposite reciprocals. So this is already in y equals mx plus b. So I take the m, which is currently 2, and I've got to change it to the opposite reciprocal. The opposite of a positive is a negative. 2 over 1, I flip it as 1 over 2. So my new slope is negative 1/2. Now I take the point 3, 4, and I use point slope form. Y minus 4 equals negative 1/2 x minus 3. I distribute. Negative 1/2 times x is negative 1/2 x. A negative and a negative is a positive. 1 times 3 is 3. Divided by 2 is just 3/2. And then I add 4 to both sides, giving me y equals negative 1/2 x. I think that's 11/2. Pretty sure. So y equals negative 1/2 x plus 11/2. Okay?